What is going on, guys? It is Nathan Valley here. And guys, today at the end of this video, by the time you're done watching this, you are going to have 100% confidence and you are never, ever going to feel nervous about talking to a seller again. So let's jump into things. So first things first, if you guys haven't seen me before, my name is Nathan Valley. Nathan Payne's not able to be here today. He's busy moving in. My name's Nathan Valley, though. I've been wholesaling for about 5 years. I've done, almost exclusively everything has been virtual. I've done hundreds of thousands of dollars in assignment fees. I've locked up over 100 contracts in a single year and a lot more. But I want to jump into things with you guys so that you don't have to make the mistakes that I did. What I want to share with you is everything that I've learned from spending hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours, no joke, hundreds and hundreds of hours chatting with sellers, making all the mistakes, running into all the roadblocks and challenges. I want to show you everything that I've learned so that you don't have to go through it. So first things first, when talking to a seller, I'm going to give you guys a step-by-step process for you to follow through. It's super simple. It's super easy. You're never going to feel uncomfortable or cringy about calling and talking to a seller again. All right. So first thing is there's a couple principles. Principle number one, you need to have this mindset every single time when you step into a call with a seller. And I actually got this from Alex Ramosi. And that principle is genuinely care more about the other person's outcome than they do. All right. Genuinely care more about the other person's outcome than they do. What that's going to do is, number one, it makes it not about you anymore. It takes away all that pressure because it's not about it. Yes, of course, we want to do deals. We want to make money. 100%. We're going to get there. But when you step into it with that mindset, you're going to ask questions. You're going to have a certain tonality that's going to allow you to get through and connect with that seller better than anything else. So that's number one. And then number two, when it comes to making an offer should be like proposals, right? Now there's exceptions to every rule, but most of the time when somebody makes an offer, when somebody proposes, they typically already know what the answer is going to be. You want to be the same way with your offers. Just throwing out offers, making offers, within the first 5 minutes of a phone call at 50% of Zillow, or, you have to make, 5 offers a day or 10 offers a day or whatever it is. Guys, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's super ineffective. There's tons of people that can attest to that. No, you want quality over quantity. And if you have been trying to go that volume approach and doing it that other way, chances are you've seen the results of that, right? It leads to people getting upset with you, hanging up the phone, cursing you out. I know, because I lived it, right? Like I said, I want you to learn from the mistakes so that you don't have to make them. So what do we do instead? So every time when we get on the phone with the seller, the first thing we want to do is we want to set expectations. Right? They have no clue who we are. What is this call about? What does it look like? Right? They're really nervous. Selling a home is a really big thing. So there's 3 parts to setting expectation. There's timeline, itinerary, and ending. Right? Timeline. Hey, how long is this going to be? How long is this person going to have me on the phone for hours? Right? Itinerary. What are we going to be talking about? What is he going to ask me? Right? And then ending. Okay. So after we go through all this, then what? What happens? We want to set those expectations because what it does is, okay, it relieves pressure. When you know what's coming next, when you know what it looks like and you're okay with it, it relieves that pressure for the seller, right? And allows you to move forward. And we want to go through this whole process in a way that isn't pushy, that isn't cringy, that people actually enjoy talking. Whether you do the deal or not, everyone's always happy that they spoke to you on the phone. And guys, again, at the end of this, you're going to become one of the most dangerous wholesalers while at the same time being the person that everybody loves to chat with. So again, setting expectations. What does that look like in real practice? Well, that might sound something like, hey, Mr. Seller, so calls really quick, brief, 10, maybe 15 minutes, real simple. Just ask some questions about the property, the condition, the layout. Things like that. It's okay if you don't know all the answers. It's not a problem. Just do the best that you can. And then at the end, if it sounds like something to where we might be a good fit for each other, great. We can chat a little bit about what those next steps might look like. And look, if not, that's totally okay too. No harm, no foul. Either way, I've been doing this for a while. At the end of this, I could probably at the very least point you in the right direction. Boom. Step number one. That's how we set expectations, right? Is nothing uncomfortable about that. Nothing cringy. We're not pushing. We're not, hey, what's the lowest you'd accept, for a cash offer that can close in 30 days? Guys, throw that nonsense out the window. It's unnecessary. Nobody likes it. And it doesn't make you feel good either, right? When we're getting cursed out and hung up on. This is a way where you're going to be able to connect and get further with so many more people. So we set expectations. What do we do after we set expectations? Well, now we're going to get into the real meat and potatoes of what we're talking about. So there's the 4 pillars of a qualified lead, which is timeline. There's timeline, right? How soon are they looking to sell? There's condition. What kind of shape is the property in? There is motivation. What's the reason why this person wants or needs to sell? And then price, right? What price does a person want? Those are 4 pillars of a qualified lead. However, there is also an equally, if not more important, the 4 pillars of disqualifying a lead. Nobody talks about this. This is super important. I got to come up with some phrase to coin this. The 4 pillars of disqualifying a lead are: why not list it with an agent? Why not fix it up yourself and sell it? Why not just rent it out? Or why not just stay in the property or hand it down to a family member? Equally more important, and I'll explain why. So what that looks like is we set the expectations, and they say, okay, sure. What questions do you have? So tell me a little bit about the property. Well, it's this year, it's this many bedrooms. Okay, got it. Hey, let me ask, if you were looking to sell the property, did you have an idea as to when you'd want to do that? Right? Timeline, when you want to sell. Right? Okay, got it. Right? All right, now tell me a little bit more. What's the kitchen? What's the bathroom like? Well, blah, 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 blah. Okay, got it. And so we're checking off the condition box as we're going through, right? We already got timeline down. Motivation. I hate the question, hey, what's your motivation for selling? It's too direct. And if you've asked this question, chances are you've experienced this as well, to where you get a little bit of pushback. And the reason why, when someone says, hey, what's your motivation for selling the home? Right? It's too direct, right? It gives that seller the feeling of, okay, I know what you're trying to do here. Right? And you're going to get a lot of resistance with that. That's where the disqualifying the lead comes into play. So that's why I want, hey, Mr. Ms. Seller, I mean, have you guys considered maybe just listing it with an agent and sort of going that route? Well, yeah, kind of. Okay, well, what's held you back from just moving forward with that? Well, blah, 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 blah. Right? Well, important piece of information that you didn't know before. Okay, got it. Now tell me, what's the yard like? Well, it's got this, that. Okay. Hey, let me ask, I mean, it's a nice house. Have you considered maybe just kind of fixing it up yourself and then selling it? Well, I don't want to do that. Okay, got it. Well, why is that? What's holding you back from just doing that? I mean, because if you were to do that, you probably would make more money. Well, XYZ. Right, guys, you aren't presenting anything that they haven't already thought of, right? It's not like we're like, hey, have you ever thought about listing it with an agent? And they're like, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. I got to go call an agent. Got to go click, bye. No, it doesn't happen. Of course they know about that. Of course they know they can fix it up themselves. Of course they know they can rent it out, right? Of course they know they can just stay there. So we're asking these questions because rather than me saying, Mr. Ms. Seller, why are you motivated to sell, right? Which isn't going to get me anywhere and people are going to see through that. Well, I want to ask these questions because it's also going to help give me a lot more information to understand their situation, what's really going on. And what we're really trying to do is, guys, we're not being salesy. We're not trying to convince anybody of anything. All we are doing is we're trying to fully uncover all the information that surrounds the situation, right? We're trying to uncover all the information so that we can find out, are we the best fit for this person? And if not, guys, back to setting expectations, right? What did we say? Hey, if we're not the right fit, we'll point you in the right direction. I genuinely mean that. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to a seller and say, hey, to be honest, I'm probably not the right buyer for you. I think this would be a better option. And I'll even here's a phone number for that. Right? Oh, here, this person's actually really good. You're going to want to talk to them. You're not going to convince anybody, right? So we got to understand, why are we the only option for this person, right? And by asking these questions, they're going to tell you why you are the perfect fit, and they're going to tell you the exact offer that they need. Well, we looked into listing with an agent, but they wanted us to do all this work and to clean out all this stuff, and we just didn't want to do it. Okay, got it. Hey, Mr. Marcel, have you guys considered maybe just renting it out and oh my gosh, no, we've dealt with tenants once before and it was an absolute nightmare and they tore up the place. Oh, no, absolutely not. Okay, got it. Well, hey, have you considered just staying there? Well, I can't. Right now, that question might have already been answered earlier in the conversation, right? So we need a little bit of emotional intelligence. But the other thing, again, the 4 pillars of the qualified lead: timeline. Right? How soon are they looking to sell? Hey, do you have an idea as to what kind of timeline you wanted? Condition, right? That's the process we're going through right now. We've got motivation, right? And that actually gets answered through the four disqualifying questions, right? And then price, I asked that multiple times throughout the conversation. So I'll ask it in the very beginning, right? After setting expectations. And it's like, hey, so tell me a little bit about the house. Well, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Hey, did you have an idea if you were to sell the house, what kind of price you'd want for it? I want $1 million. Okay, got it. Cool. So tell me a little bit more about that, right? Tell me a little bit more about the house. Guys, whatever number they say in the beginning, just take it, put it on a shelf. We'll come back to it later. I don't care how high, how ridiculous the number is. Because the price so many people, they try to go back and forth on price right in the beginning, and you haven't built any rapport. Right? It's within the first couple minutes of chatting with someone. They don't know you, they don't like you, and they don't trust you yet. Right? It's not a real number. It's a smoke screen. They still have their guard up. Right? So whatever that first number is, cool. We're going to put that on the side because it's not a real number 9 times out of 10. Right? So that we're going to go through, we're going to ask the disqualifying questions. And guys, you might get answers. Hey, Mr. and Ms. Seller, have you considered listing it with an agent? Yeah, we have. Okay, cool. Well, what's held you back from just moving forward with that option? Well, we're meeting with an agent on Friday, and we're planning to list it for $400,000. Okay. Well, is there any reason you wouldn't just do that? Well, I mean, you said you pay all cash and there's no fees and you can close quick. I mean, I've figured, hey, if you're able to pay the $400,000 cash and we don't have to pay any fees and it's quicker, well, yeah, I mean, I'd go with you. Okay, got it. So it sounds like only if we were able to pay the $400,000 cash, that's the only way it'd really be able to make sense for you, right? Yeah, that's really the only reason why. Okay, got it. Well, to be honest, it sounds like I'm probably not the right buyer for you. Boom, and now we're off the call onto the next person. I didn't have to shove an offer down somebody's throat that was never going to work in the first place. Got it? And the thing is, guys, it's really hard to stick with this business when you're making offers that people don't want and you're getting hung up on, and you're getting cursed out. Makes it really hard to want to stick with the business, right? And maybe you've kind of gone through it a little bit. And guys, it's not your fault. It's just, no one's probably shown you another way. Well, this video gets to solve that for you, right? So we go through the disqualifying questions. So once we've found out the time, hey, how soon are they looking to sell? We know what their initial price is. We've learned their motivation through the 4 disqualifying questions. Hey, why not list it with an agent? Why not fix it up yourself and sell it? Why not rent it out? And why not just stay there or hand it off to a family member? All right, those are the 4 options. Once we've learned that, now we kind of get a little bit more into price. And at this point, through those questions, they're going to reveal to you what are the little things that are important to them, right? Hey, why not list it with an? Well, they said we have to fix up all this stuff, and we've got all this stuff we've got to clean out and this and that. Okay, got it. Right. And then we also want to ask questions. Hey, obviously price is most important, 100%. I want to get you the most amount of money as possible. Just putting price aside for 1 second, other than price, what's important to you? Is timeline, I know you'd said, oh, this kind of timeline would be great, but I mean, is it really that important to you, or is it not that much? Would you prefer a quick timeline? Are you afraid of a quick timeline? Like, is 30 days too quick? Does that actually scare you? Do you need to find another place? Right? All of these, hey, if we were able to do this, is that something that would be valuable to you? If we were able to do that, is that something that would be valuable to you? Guys, and throw out ideas, because again, they're sellers. They're typically not investors doing this on a daily basis like you and me. So you've got to kind of put out some ideas to get them thinking of like, oh, like I didn't realize you guys could do that, or you could do this or do that. So when you start kind of throwing out these ideas, you get their brains thinking, and they're like, oh, well, that would actually be really cool. I didn't think you could do that. That would be huge. Right? So suggest things. Hey, if we were to do this, would that be valuable to you? And again, if is your favorite word. If we were able to do that, would that be if we were able to do this? Right? So we go through the whole conversation. We've set expectations, right? Then we've gone through the core of the conversation, 4 pillars of qualified lead, and then the 4 disqualifying questions. Right? We've done all of that. We've learned about condition, all that good stuff. Now the fun part, price. Right? The seller originally says he wants 400,000. We know just off the top of our head, we're probably going to have to be closer to 200,000, right? It's a far number off. How on earth do we make that happen without getting this person upset? Well, it's pretty easy. So first off, I'm not just going to say, yeah, I'd need to be around this price point. The other thing I'm not going to do is I'm never going to talk about comps. Oh, hey, Mr. Seller, did you see this comp over here that sold for $10? Yeah, that 400,000 price isn't going to, guys, sellers don't like that, right? When you talk about rehab and you ask them, hey, ballpark, what do you think it would take to fix that up? Rehab's maybe $5,000. I'm not going to say, oh, dude, you're crazy, man. That's like a $50,000 rehab. I'm not going to say that, because all it's going to do is create confrontation. And they're going to get off the phone with you. People don't do business with people they don't like. You can address that stuff later down the road. So just set that aside, because as soon as you get in like a tit for tat back and forth with the seller, done. You might as well just hang up the phone, move on to the next person, because that deal's dead. Right? They're already set on not working with you, even if you can do the price that they want. So we don't want to get into that. And guys, to be frank, it's just super ineffective. At least from my experience talking with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sellers. So what do we do? So we know we got to get down to 200,000. We don't want it to be this super uncomfortable, cringy thing. How do we make it happen? Well, I might say something along the lines of, okay, got it. So Mr. and Ms. Seller, I know we had talked about this, we had talked about that. I know you said, if we were able to do these things, that would be a huge help for you. And I know you said, you'd mentioned you really want to sell as quick as possible. I think that's something we could do. I'll be honest. I know you were asking 400,000. Is that the best that you can do? Now, right there, a lot of times they'll drop price, right? And it might be 380 or 350, right? They might drop 10,000, 30,000, 50,000, right? Right there, boom, you get an initial price drop. They're like, well, if it was to be an offer like that, we could do this. And why? Because we've had a long enough conversation. We've asked them, because you got to think, when we're asking questions, hey, why not list it? Why not fix it up? Why not rent it? They have to open up and share a lot of personal information with you in order for you to really understand those questions. And again, a yes or no answer isn't good enough, right? We're getting the yes or no, but then also, hey, but why? What's the why underneath that? When you do that, you're building a lot of rapport with the seller. You're really getting to know them and understand them. And so that's where they really start to change on price and start to tell you what they really would be willing to accept, right? So they might come down, let's just say 20,000. Well, I could do 380. Okay, got it. Now what do I do? I'm still, I got to be closer, like 200. Well, Mr. Can I be honest with you? Yeah. I'll be honest. I'm a little afraid to kind of talk about price, just because, look, my number one goal is I never want to insult somebody with a low offer. That's not my goal. I'm not here to upset you or insult you with a low offer. I don't know exactly what my number would be at just yet, but I've just got a general idea, and I'm a little afraid about it. They're like, well, okay, well, what is it? Well, Mr. Seller, in a perfect world, if we were to pay cash and close in 30 days and do all these things, in a perfect world, I'd really want to be around like 180, 190. Oh my gosh, 180, 190. I can't do that price. Blah, blah. No. Hey, look, totally get it. And I know there's no way that would ever work for you. And again, that's in a perfect world. I'm not saying that's what my offer is. But Mr. Seller, I guess my question for you is, how close do you think you could get to that? Whoa! So guys, here's the thing. We are never giving our number. Not once have I given an offer price yet. We're always letting them tell us, what better can you do? What better can you do? We always want them to be giving us the number. And then we're seeing if we're able to make that work or not. Right? And guys, when you ask this question, when you deliver it with the right tonality at the right timing, guys, people will go from 380 and they'll drop to 250. Like, it's crazy how effective it is. Right? And again, this isn't theory. This is just from my experience after talking with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sellers. Okay. It works like a charm. So from there, they get a little bit of a shot. And did you notice how I said, hey, we want to be closer to 200? What was the number I said to the seller? 180, 190, right? We're anchoring low, right? And again, that's the response you'll get is they're like, oh my gosh, I could never make, right? And you're going to have to kind of cut them off. Like, hey, no, totally understand. I know. And I'm not saying that's what my offer is, but how close do you think you could get to that? Right. And guys, there's nothing uncomfortable. We're not pushing an offer down someone. We're just asking questions, right? It's a genuine conversation, right? And this is where they reveal something way, way, way closer to their real number. And now that's when you're in the danger zone. You're like, okay, we just went from 400,000 and we're now down. We're talking 250 to maybe 300 range or lower. Guys, again, it is crazy how far somebody will come down on price. And then what do I do from here? So I'll give you guys the super secret special sauce. On Nate, every time I get to this, the seller says, oh, I need to think about it. Oh, I need to talk it over with my wife. Do you guys want to know the magic secret on how to never, ever, ever have that be an issue again? And guys, I'm not bluffing. It's good. And this I found just through trial and error, because this was the number one thing I hated more than anything. And guys, I did the stuff that all the salespeople teach. Oh, well, if you set the expectations up front, hey, Mr. Seller, like if we're able to come to agreement today, you're able to give me a definite yes or no, right? Guys, I did all that. I've done it. I've tested it, and I've done it a million times. And every single time the seller, we'd get to the very end, they're like, yeah, I still need to think about it, right? And then you'd address it. Well, do you remember earlier when we talked about, you said you were ready to give a yes or no? They're like, yeah, well, it's a big decision and I got to think about it. Guys, happened to me a million times. How did I solve that? Here it is. So the way you solve that, the way to never, ever, ever deal with I need to think about it again. This is where you get to use your weaknesses as your strengths. Hey, Mr. Miss Seller, before we kind of, crunch numbers and figure out, like kind of to the penny, what I think I'd be able to offer. I just want to make sure, that you're 100% sure, like you're definitely ready to give a yes or no on this today. Right. And of course they're like, oh yeah, definitely. Okay. I just want to check and make sure, because like I said, we're not some big hedge fund with unlimited money and unlimited resources. When we make an offer, we're actually setting those resources aside, and we're saying no to everybody else. And so because we do that, when we make an offer, obviously it's only able to be valid for 24 hours. And again, that's because we're actually setting everything aside. So if this is something you're not ready to make a definite yes or no on, if you need to talk, that's totally okay. But I just want to make sure we do that now before, we get an official offer and the clock starts ticking. And this is where you pull out the, well, I got to talk it over with my wife and she won't be home till Friday. Now, here's the thing. What's the difference? You haven't given your offer yet. That is all of your leverage. As soon as somebody knows, that's all they want to know. What's your offer? What number can this person do? As soon as they know that, you have nothing, right? And they can get off the phone and then you never hear from them again. So that's why you always want to hold that offer, that number, your offer price. You want to hold that as close to your chest as you possibly can. And that's why until the very end here, we say, hey, it's only able to be good for 24 hours because we're setting aside the resources. And guys, that's a real reason. Hey, we're not a big hedge fund, right? One of your weaknesses or something that people, I'm not this big hedge fund in an ivory tower. Guys, don't pretend to be. Use your weaknesses as your strengths. Hey, we're a small private company. We don't have unlimited resources and, we're not some huge hedge fund. So when we say yes to somebody and make an offer, we're saying no to everyone else. And so obviously when we do that, we're not able to just kind of leave an offer out there for a week. So that's why it's only able to be good for 24 hours. But before we do that, I just want to make sure you're definitely ready to make a definite yes or no. If not, that's okay. We can kind of hold off until you are ready. Right. And the thing is, if they say, well, I got to wait and chat with my wife on Friday or whatever. Great. That's fine. You can schedule the follow-up call and they'll actually answer and go on that follow-up call with you because they don't know your number yet. They don't know your offer yet. You still have that really, really valuable piece that they want to know. Right. And this is how you're able to set expectations and how to never, guys, the second I implemented this, let me think about it, done. Like literally overnight, never dealt with it again, which I was very happy about because it's my least favorite objection. So, man, guys, there's a lot of stuff we went over today. I hope that was helpful. We got Jawan, man, I really appreciate the love. This is golden information. Now, guys, one this is a mini masterclass. Yeah, it kind of turned into that. I didn't really intend for that. But I hope it was that valuable for you guys. One thing though, with price, here's the most important. All of that is super, super, super important, right? And guys, it's an easy conversation to have, right? It's not that difficult. It's a friendly conversation. We're genuinely caring about the person and we're just trying to figure out, hey, like this is probably where we would need to be at. How close to that can you get? The real magic thing though, is it's not about just the sales process. What we do personally is, because when we get to that price with traditional wholesaling, the issue is like, well, I don't know. It might be a deal if the ARV's here and the rehab's only this much, but it might not be a deal if the ARV's here and the rehab's only this much. And so the answer is, if it's a deal or not, well, it depends on who the buyer is. It depends on who I'm talking to. And so that's where we kind of do things different. Is we call it the painless flipping process, but that's where we get all of our ducks in a row and we flip the house before we even make the offer. But that's another conversation for another day. But no matter what, I hope this was helpful for you guys. I hope you got a lot out of it. If you want to learn anything more about what we do, there should be a link in the description, or just go to paynelessflipping.com, PAYNELESS, painlessflipping.com. And guys, hope to see you again soon. Hope you got something out of this. Take care. Have an amazing week.